Thank you for joining our webinar today. We've got an exciting session for you, starring one of Projility's leading team members, who will be sharing her top tips and tricks with Microsoft Project and PPM. Let's get started. My name is Annie Levand, and I'm with a Microsoft Gold partner called Projility. We've been implementing Microsoft Project and Portfolio Management solutions for over 18 years for large enterprises, including everything from engineering, construction, IT, and new product development. PMOs and CIOs typically come to us when they can't easily explain what's going on across all their projects, they don't know what resources are working on what work, and they have a hard time getting consistent reports, metrics, and dashboards to make project-based decisions. We're known for having a 98% on time, on budget track record for successfully implementing these solutions for clients. We offer services and solutions in 3 core areas: deployment and consulting services, Fragility's core business. We provide professional services for successfully planning and implementing Microsoft Project Portfolio Management, including Microsoft Project Online, integrating PPM with a line of business applications, and delivering strategic portfolio management solutions to support top-level management planning. We also have a growing Power Platform practice, where we are actively working with clients to build applications, workflows, and reports to automate their most important business processes. Projility also offers a set of pre-built software solutions and accelerators based upon 18 years of experience, including a set of Hammerhead products that provide improved cloud access to your PPM data, accelerate access to visual reports and dashboards using Power BI, and connect data between your PPM system with Microsoft Teams, and extend connectivity into Active Directory to improve visibility, insight, and control over your work, people, and projects. Finally, Projility provides post-implementation support services, including expert care designed to assist your PMO with gaining on-demand expertise on the solution supported. We have a full online automated e-learning offering that can improve consistency and adoption over your users of project management tools. We have upcoming webinars covering sessions on best practices for project and PPM processes and tools. You won't want to miss our 6th virtual project conference on November 9th, where we'll have speakers from 2 Projility clients, Southeast Grocers and Alert Innovation, sharing their experiences and lessons learned deploying Microsoft Project and PPM for their enterprises. All virtual webinars will start at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can register for these events through the Eventbrite link provided or by searching Eventbrite Projility in your browser. Hope you can join us for these upcoming sessions. All videos from this and previous series are available on our best practice playlist on YouTube listed on this page. Topics range from managing your digital transformation program using PPM technologies to integrating PPM with agile and line of business applications. Feel free to subscribe and access this library at any time and share with your colleagues. With that, I'd like to introduce Amanda Kuhlman, Projility's Director of Project and Portfolio Management. Amanda has been working in the project management industry for over 10 years, is Microsoft certified, and has deep experience in all elements of PPM lifecycle and technologies. She lives in Houston and loves hanging out with her dog, Kit Kat. Amanda, thanks for joining us today. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Annie. Let me share my screen. The tips and tricks that I want to walk through today are focused on 2 main areas. The first one is making project your own. If you work with project as much as I work with project, then you are in and out of project files, multiple files every day. So the most efficient way that I can make myself work is to make project streamline that process. How can I when I go into project, I can quickly see the data that I need to in an organized way to get the information that I need quickly so that I can make the updates that I need and then pivot to my next project. So I highly recommend making project your own. So we'll take a look at some views, some highlight filter groups, ways that you can interact with those different views, and customizing your quick access toolbar. I also have a formula that I'll walk through with you for how to have a 5-week look ahead for a quick filter option if you are on a team meeting and you need to provide that look ahead. And then secondly is capturing the task progress in your schedules. When you're making updates to your project, depending on how you and your organization manage schedules and the level of granularity for tracking that work, it might change how you want to use project. So I'll walk through 3 different methods today that range in different levels of granularity for updating that task progress. No matter which option you choose, it is still very important to understand how project updates that task progress and actual work and actual values for you. So regardless of if you use the percent complete method or you're an organization that has project online deployed with timesheets, it's still important to understand the fields that project uses to hold those actual values. So project views. The views are used to display different columns and details. One of the questions I get asked a lot is, if I go into a Microsoft project view and I hide a column, is that removing the data in that column? The answer is no, you're just hiding it from view because project has many, many, many fields behind the scenes that are working, they're calculating with every action that you take in your schedule. So each user's version of project or your own project application, just like Word or Excel, you have the option to change views in your specific version of project, your project client. Whether you're in project online, working in an enterprise, working at the enterprise, or working with your Microsoft project locally, you can create and save your own project views. Views can be related to tasks, resources, or assignment views. So the view you see here is a Gantt chart, and this is considered a task view because it shows different task information related to your schedule. We could see task mode, percent complete, task name. And of course, there are many, many fields that are not displayed here that you can show. This is only a fraction of what you can see in a task view. A resource view, an example of that is a resource sheet. This shows you the resource information. It displays a list of the resources on your project team, along with the type, max units, their rate for calculations, and their calendar. If you're working in an enterprise environment or you have specific resource fields, that you can also display those in any of your resource views. The assignment views are the top examples of these are your resource usage view and your task usage view. These views show you resource assignment data in a time-phased manner. This example here is the task usage view, and it displays task and resource assignments for each task. On the left-hand side, we can see the tasks in the work breakdown structure, the hierarchy structure that we would see in our Gantt chart. So this task view takes each task, but then underneath of it has the unique resource assignment. That task has one particular resource assignment, but if there were multiples, you would see multiple resources under that task as well, along with the corresponding assignment data for each person. On the right-hand side is a time-phased view. You have the ability to update the time scale here. This is showing in weeks. Again, depending how often you and your team forecast work for your resources might depend on what you want this time scale to look like. You can go down very granular to a day, even I think it's half a day. The data points you're seeing on the right-hand side are the work. So this would be your forecasted work, and then the actual once that does occur. If you are working in a project online environment, the admins may have configured a few Microsoft project views for you that are convenient, and they'll be consistent across all the users that are connected to project online. For example, if there are standard fields that your team uses for status reporting, or if you have task level custom fields that are important in how your organization aggregates data, admins can create these views for you so that as a project manager, you can quickly flip from view to see the relevant data. We're all about efficiency and how can we make project a more efficient product for you. Within each view, there are several components that make up a project view. Each of these is set by default, but once you are on a view, you can modify these to adjust how and what data is displayed. The views consist of a table, So the columns, the specific tasks, resources, or assignments that you'd like to see. Filters for any specific tasks. For example, a filter to show you only active tasks can be set. We'll also walk through an example today of how to apply a filter for a 5-week look ahead at your schedule so you can quickly see what's coming up in the next 5 weeks. Grouping your data. If you have task custom fields in your schedules, you can group the data in your table based on those attributes. One example of this is if you do need to flag your tasks as either being a CapEx or an OpEx, you can flag those tasks accordingly throughout your schedule. When you group on that field, it will aggregate all of your CapEx tasks at the top, and you get a roll-up of data at that level. Same with your OpEx. You'd be able to see the roll-up and all of the tasks underneath of it. The details, of course, the details in that particular view, and highlighting the tasks. You can highlight tasks based on a set of specific criteria. I frequently like to highlight my tasks that are milestones. So as I scroll through my entire project schedule, I can quickly pinpoint my milestones and any late tasks. The quick access toolbar. The quick access toolbar is available to you in many Microsoft products. So Word, Excel, it has the same, but it can be modified to include quick actions that are taken frequently. Each user has the ability to modify their own quick access toolbar. So just think as you go through your day of actions that you take every day in project. If you work in Project Online, do you have the Publish button in your Quick Access toolbar? Or do you click File, Info, and Publish every time you need to publish your project? Those quick actions that you take every day, put them in your toolbar. You can see in mine, I have Open and Publish. I also have one for Scroll to Task because I'm constantly looking at tasks in a Gantt chart and I want to scroll immediately to it. So I add that to my Quick Access toolbar. Here I have a project schedule. I can see I created a work breakdown structure. We have several tasks here, and I am currently in the Gantt chart view. To modify any views and to save a brand new view, all you have to do is to right-click and insert column to add a brand new column. So I will add in a couple of different columns here. We'll add in our baseline finish column. It did set my baseline here previously. And then I will set my actual start column and my actual finish column. Once you have made modifications to your view, you can save them as a brand new view. In the task ribbon, or in any ribbon, the far left will be the different views that apply to that category. So task views here, resource views here. In the task view, I will go ahead and choose that drop down and save the view. Since I pulled in my baseline finish and actual start finish, I want to save this view to be my status view. When I'm coming in every week with my team meeting, I can use this view to see when were we planning to finish, which would be my baseline finish, where are we currently projected to finish, which is the current finish date, and then if it has completed, where did we actually finish? Once I save that view, you can see that now the view name here appears on the left. And from the drop down here under custom, because you have a couple of other custom views here, I can now see that status view as its own unique view. This allows me to toggle back to the Gantt chart, for example, and then toggle straight back to that status view. Several of the other commands that I'll walk through are in the View ribbon. Particularly this set of commands right here. One view that I always like to point out here is the outline level. In this plan, if I scroll all the way down to the end, there are 130 lines. So not a terribly long schedule, but still a good amount if I'm looking for specific data points. The outline level allows us to expand or collapse our tasks based on what level they fall in the hierarchy. So here I can choose level 1, and it will collapse everything in my plan to only show me those level 1 tasks. This is very important if you are trying to get a high-level view of the plan. I can quickly see here the phases that my project goes through, the duration of those, start and the finish date, baseline finish, those same data points, but I get to see it at a higher level. If I want to go down one further level, I can choose level 2. And again, it won't show me all of those tasks. It'll only show me down to level 2 in that hierarchy. And then, of course, if I want to bring back all of my tasks, I can choose all subtasks, and it will again then display everything. In this data ribbon, again, at the top here is your highlight. A highlight gives you a handy way to still see your entire plan, but highlighting tasks that need to call out to you, that need to stand out as you're doing your review. So if I choose the drop down here, you can see that there are several that are built in. This drop down will be the same if you are filtering your view as well. And I have options here to show only active tasks, etc. Any options that you see here with a ... means that project will prompt you for an input, such as a date range, before it will highlight any of your tasks. I want to see my milestones. I want to be able to quickly scroll through my schedule and see any of those 0-day duration tasks. So once I selected milestones here in the highlight, I can see that all my tasks still display, but it will automatically highlight those milestones. So project charter complete, and as I scroll through those just jump out at me. And so I very often use the highlight to point out those milestones. Another highlight that I use frequently is for late tasks. So I'll go ahead and, I know I have some late tasks in here. Nope. Excuse me. Well, we'll show our critical tasks. So I highlight those critical tasks, and then it will display for me any tasks that are on the critical path. Late tasks will display tasks that are based on your status date. So if you do have tasks that are late, that are considered late, it is using that status date in order to calculate. Go ahead and clear my highlight here. Next, we have our filter. So if I choose this dropdown, you'll see that those built-ins are the same list from the highlight. So we can use some of those built-ins here to search for tasks within a specific date range. So I'll go ahead and select that. And as I mentioned, any that have the ... do ask for an input. So I want to find any tasks that are going to start after October 15th and before October 28th. And once I click OK, you can see it does apply the filter. So it doesn't give you the entire list of your project, but it does help to zone in or key in on exactly the tasks that fit that criteria. Go ahead and choose that drop down and clear my filter. If I choose that drop down again, you'll see I do have a custom filter in here for a 5-week look ahead. This is a custom filter that I created based on a task level flag field. Take a look at that formula real quick. So I'll choose my project ribbon and go to custom fields. And this is a task level field that is a flag field. So I'll switch this to flag. You can see I've created that 5-week look ahead here. It is a formula driven field. So I'll go ahead and click formula and we can take a look at that formula. So this formula is letting me know that if the start date is less than the status date plus 35, so 35 would be 5 days from now, then and the percent complete is less than 0, then we want to show yes or true, and if not, we want it to show no. If you want to modify this formula to, for example, show you a 2-week look ahead, then you can modify this 35 here to be 14 to represent 2 weeks, and that would give you a 2-week look ahead. And again, this formula here is in Project locally, but you can create a similar formula if you are working in a Project online environment at the enterprise level, or you still can create this locally in your own version of Project. Go ahead and cancel that one here. And now that I have created that formula field, that custom field, then I can use it to apply as a filter. So I'll choose that drop down, choose 5-week look ahead. And that will give me any of the tasks that have that 5-week look ahead. But this does look at my status date. So if you look at the dates here, you'll notice that some of those do occur in the past. And we don't have a lot that extend out. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and clear our filter here, bring back the entire task list, and we will update our status date. You can see right now it's September 6th. We will go ahead and modify this to be today or yesterday. Now that my status date is updated, if I come back to the view ribbon and reapply that filter for the 5-week look ahead, I now have a much longer list of tasks. You can see as I scroll down here, it does now go out to those 5 weeks. So I can quickly see what's coming up for me in the 5 weeks or my tasks that are overdue. You do have the ability to add in your summary task if you would like to see that as part of your filter. Click on more filters and show you a sneak peek of that 5-week look ahead. I use that 5-week look ahead custom field. That equals yes, so it's a true statement. And I can select the show related summary task here if I want to see what the parent task is of that particular task. Once I do that, now I can see still 5-week look ahead, still only the tasks that apply, but I can see the relevant parent task, so it helps me to orient a bit in my schedule. Go ahead and clear the filter for that 5-week look ahead. If I scroll to the right just a bit, you can see most of the columns in this view are the out of the box fields. But as I scroll to the right, I have added in 2 additional custom fields here. One to flag the task phase that it belongs to. And second is to flag the tasks as being either a capital or an operating expense. I can use this field to group, and it will show me all of my OpEx tasks and CapEx tasks grouped together, along with the corresponding task and details underneath. One way to do this, and you can do this on any column, is to choose this drop-down arrow on the header and choose Group on this field. This will immediately group, which we can see in those yellow bars. It looks like a summary task, but it's golden. And this shows me all of my CapEx tasks, along with those details underneath. But what I particularly like about grouping is that it will automatically aggregate them all for me. So I could pull in cost elements here. I can see it's aggregating that duration here from the earliest start and latest finish. It will automatically show me the calculations that I need just by grouping on that particular field. If I scroll to the right a little bit, we want to ungroup that field. So I'll just deselect group, and then it will bring me back to my project schedule. Also very important in knowing how you can change your schedule is knowing how to undo the views that you did. And that way you can get back to your standard view and hierarchy. The quick access toolbar is located in the top left. The save, undo, and redo are the default options for you here. And you can see I have added scroll to task, which will scroll my Gantt bar to that particular view. the open and the publish if I were connected to my project online environment, because I quickly use these actions. Since I'm in here all of the time, it's very easy for me to open the files, very easy for me to navigate to this task, for example, and have the Gantt chart shift. These are the commands that I use multiple times every day. You can modify your own quick access toolbar by selecting this drop-down, Customize Quick Access Toolbar. You can see it does prompt you with a couple of the commands that Microsoft thinks are used often. So you can select any of those here. Or if you are looking for the publish, it's not on this list, but you can go to more commands and you will see it listed. So I'll choose more commands, and this brings you to project options. So if your version of project, you do not see this tiny drop-down arrow here, if you go to File Options, it will bring you to this same dialog box. And if you click on Quick Access Toolbar, you will see a screen that looks similar to mine. On the left, it shows you your popular commands. The Publish button is in here, so I can scroll or hit P, and it will drop me down in that list. And you can find, for example, the Publish command. And just click Add, and it will add it to what is on your Quick Access toolbar. We have my scroll to task here. Here's your outline level. Again, I highly recommend playing with what commands you use frequently so that it makes your day a little bit more efficient. So go ahead and cancel from here. Those are a few of the tricks about navigating through those views that I use myself. So we have so far been focusing on our task view. A couple of the other views that I showed in a few of the slides are resource views and assignment views. I can change to the resource sheet by either choosing this drop down here, or I can right click on the view name to show me a list of the popular view names. And I'll choose resource sheet. The name will update, and this will show you any of that resource information. Just like your task sheet, you have the ability to add, to insert or hide columns. Data is still there, of course. And this allows me to see who is on my project team. And if you're working with project locally, you have the ability to update your information here. If you're in project online, this is a view-only view for you in order to see how those resources are configured. The task usage view is one of my favorite views. I feel a little funny saying that, but it truly is, because it will show me, let's go to the standard resource usage task usage view, because this shows me the data in a time-phased manner. This shows me my tasks in the hierarchy that I'm used to seeing. So I can see initiating, develop project charter with the tasks under it, but I have an extra layer here. Under each task, I get to see the resource assignments for each one, along with their specific resource assignments. For this task, we have project director. I'll use my handy scroll to tasks, and it will scroll the right-hand side of my screen to where that task is scheduled in a time-phased view. So different than the Gantt with your bars, this shows you in the timescale manner the actual data points that are occurring within that time frame. So this task is going from August 23rd to the 29th. And here I can see both the work, which was forecasted, and the actual work for that time period. My time scale over here is set to weeks. That's how I like to look at my project schedules. You do, again, have the ability to change that in your view ribbon. And it is in this option here. If I prefer to see my timescale data in months, I can choose months, and you can see it will just immediately update and aggregate that data. If you do a lot of information that goes over the end of the month and into the next month, just something to be cautious of as you go from weeks to months, because sometimes your weeks will have the end of one month and the beginning of another. but it will automatically update and aggregate any of that information for you based on the timescale you've selected. Switch mine back to weeks here, but I can see as I scroll down, once I start to see tasks that have not yet been completed, I have one task with 3 assignments, different information of assignments for each one of those resources, and I can see how project is scheduling that task for me. Puts 8 hours the week of September 10th, the remaining 32 hours on the week of September 17th, and then 2 hours for those other 2 resources on that first week. We're going to switch gears just a little bit to tracking task progress. We will definitely be back to this task usage view as we're updating some of our time phase data. So tracking task progress. So far what we've been focusing on is how to work in project, how to change your views, how to highlight things, how to make your project manager lives more efficient, and how you work with your project files. The next topic here will be tracking task progress. Whether you are working in Project Online or Microsoft Project on the desktop or locally, there are different methods for tracking actual data points in your schedule. I will walk through 3 different methods today that step through 3 different levels of granularity in your schedule. But what's most important is that the method that you choose does align with your organization. So whichever option you select here or that your organization is using, I still believe it's important to understand how project works. When you hit % complete, what happens to your actual start date? Still important to see and understand that project behavior so that you know when you click A, that B will happen. Understanding those actual work values or actual start and finish will also be important in helping to determine the variance and forecasting in your schedules. Depending on that level of granularity that you select, you might get more or less precision out of the variance that you have set. So we'll walk through 3 methods today. The first is the % complete, and then it's updating the actual start and actual finish dates. And then lastly is the actual values time phased, which we'll use my favorite view, which is the task usage view. The first one is % complete. This is the easiest method, but it is also the least precise method for tracking your task progress. You can see in the example here that there is a % complete column. You can see that on the subtasks here, which is where you want to update your % complete, that I am using increments of 25, but that those are being updated and being aggregated at the summary level. So at Develop Project Charter, it is summarizing all of the tasks underneath of it, lines 3 through 7, to give me an overall % complete for that summary. And then even higher than that, for the summary above that, my initiating, it is taking all of the tasks under it and summarizing it as well. Those summary tasks will automatically aggregate as you update the % complete of the tasks underneath of them. If your organization does use % complete, I do recommend defining some standards. These are some recommendations that I make. 0% can be not started, of course. 25% means it's just started. 50% means it's in progress. 75% means that it is nearly complete. And then, of course, 100% means that that task has been completed. When you use the % complete method, it assumes that all planned work equals actual work. So it does give you a status of what tasks have yet to be started, what tasks are in progress, but it also will take your planned start date, for example, and as soon as you hit % complete, it will automatically update the actual start date to match. It assumes that everything that you planned did actually happen. The next method is tracking the actual values. Every column and project that has a planned column, for example, work, has an actual column of the same, so actual work. Same for start, there's an actual start column. For finish, there's an actual finish column. And you can enter in the actual values for those columns as well. If you use the percent complete method, these will automatically populate for you, but you can expose the actual start and finish, as you can see on my screenshot here, and you can actually type those values in as well. Once you have an actual start and actual finish, project will update percent complete to be 100. So it does work kind of in the opposite of the percent complete method, in that you are giving more precise information and letting project calculate the percent complete. You can do the same for actual work and actual cost. If your organization is using Project Online and timesheets and task tracking, then the actual work and actual cost in most cases is driven from that timesheet data, so it will automatically update for you. The last method here, and then we'll jump into the demo, is the time-phased updates. These use the usage views. So you can actually input in the actual values per resource spent on a task per day if you would like to. We took a look at the time scale, so you know that you don't have to do it per day. You can do it per week, per month, per quarter if you would like to, but you do have the ability to use a usage view and type in the actual work in each of those cells. Again, the left-hand side shows the assignment data grouped by either resource or task, depending on if you are in a resource usage view or task usage view. And then the right-hand side shows those different data points and the time scale. If you are in a Project Online environment and you are using the task page or the timesheet for your team members to report progress to you here, the actual work values here will be populated once that time has been approved and published by the project owner or the status manager. The view is still very helpful in order for you to see what data came in so that you can see that at an assignment level or an aggregated level. So you can still see those values there, but the actual work, if those are protected actuals, will show up in that actual work line. Jumping back to our schedule, I'm going to change my view back to my status view, that custom view that I saved. And here I did show some of those actual columns. So I did set the baseline for the project. So my baseline data is populated. And I have my actual start and actual finish. You can see I only have a couple of tasks here that have been completed. They've just been marked 100% complete. For the project charter task here, I can see it has, go ahead and mark that 100% complete too. I'll use my task ribbon to do that. And as I jump down to the next section of tasks, I can see this task has been marked as 20% complete. The planned start and finish for this task, the planned start was September 6th and the planned finish was September 14th. The actual start I can see now matches the planned start date. Once I do update this task to be 100%, which I can do either by typing 100 into this percent complete or using the predefined buttons, it will automatically populate that finish into the actual finish date as well. This does give you the method to know that conduct planning workshop has been completed, but if, for example, it actually completed on September 13th, that would not be a metric that you would capture here. You would just know that it is done. For the next task, my document project costs, I can update this one. This time I will just type in 50% complete. And again, it will make those assumptions. It will assume that my planned start date of September 15th is what actually occurred. So it will put that into my actual start column. So once you do have any percent complete at all, your actual start will update. And once it's 100%, it will mark in that actual finish. The other actual columns behind the scenes here, the actual work and actual cost, those do populate as well. So it will assume that all of the planned work for those resources did actually occur. In this task here for document project cost, If I do not want to use the percent complete method, I want to be a little bit more precise. I want to be able to type when that task actually finished to give me better variance compared to my baseline over here. Then in the actual finished cell for that task, I can type in that this task actually finished on September 20th. Once I update that task, you can see a lot of cells in the schedule turned blue, which means that they were affected by the change I made. So now my actual finish, you can see it updated your finish because that is what truly happened. I can see it did update the duration for that task because it didn't take 5 days as planned, it only took 4. And it also updated the percent complete to be 100. Because this task is linked with waterfall methodology to the tasks underneath of it, it did pull in each of those tasks by 1 day as well. If you do use an actual value update method, just something to be mindful of. But I can now see that this task can start 1 day sooner than it would have before. And I can use that same method here to update either the actual start or actual finish for the remaining tasks. For example, this task was planned to start on September 21st, but it actually did not start until September 23rd. So I can update the actual start there, and I can see it does shift the start and the finish as well. This is now what's planned for the task. For it to start on September 23rd, take 2 days, and finish on September 26th. Show the detail view here for just a second. And I'll select one of those tasks up here where we marked it as 100% complete. Whether you use the start or the finish or percent complete, this split view down here can show me the resources assigned to it and the planned cost and the actual cost. Same for our planned work and actual work. So when we do mark those tasks as being 100% complete, it will automatically match the cost and the work for the resources with the actual value of the same. The last method for updating that I'll walk through today is using that time phase data. So I will switch my view here to the task usage view. I'll scroll up just a little bit. So here for this develop preliminary project scope statement, I can see I have a project director resource assigned to it for 40 hours with the assignment dates of September 6th through September 14th. And here the actual work has been populated. Let's scroll down here. Again, I'll use my scroll to task. This task has an 8-hour estimate for the week of September 24th. For this cell on the right hand, I can choose for that week for actual work. If I know the actual number of hours that it took here, then I can go ahead and type it in. It may match the planned, it might not match the plan. So here I'll go ahead and type in that for this week, this resource only performed 4 hours of work on that task. Now you'll see as soon as I hit enter, that project changed the remaining work for that task. So it says for this week, we planned only 8, but 4 hours of work were actually done. So what will it do with the remaining 4 hours? It's going to take those 4 hours and push it to the next week because project assumes that that remaining work still needs to be done. So it'll update and push it out to that next week. Again, for that next week comes along, we can either update the actual work that they actually did. So in this case, I'll go ahead and put 4 hours so that it matches. Or we can continue to update this time phase data with the actual work values that did come through. In this right-hand pane, we are showing work and actual work. You have the ability to show other details here as well. We won't go through too many of them today, but I do recommend that you take a look. If you right-click on this timescale view, you can see the other options that are available for you to see. You can pull in your baseline work if you always want to see a week or a month and what work was planned for that month versus what actually occurred. which would calculate our variances. Or you can create a similar view to show you the cost, so your planned cost versus your actual cost as well. Or you can, as we showed very early on in the webinar, you can create multiple views, one that shows you work and one that shows you cost. That does complete the task progress updates. I do hope that that task progress update does show you how project behaves when you update either percent complete, the actual values, or enter in the actual work for your resources. So I'll go ahead and pass it back over to Annie, see if there's any questions.
Great presentation, Amanda. I think we all learned something new. I'll now open the floor to questions and answers. Remember to enter your questions in the questions and answer manager at the top of your team screen. Let's see if there's any questions in the queue for you, Amanda. I think we'll wait one more moment, and if there's no questions, we'll move on. Okay, we'll move forward with our presentation. Next slide, please. If you or anyone in your organization is looking for help or guidance with project or the PPM platform, do reach out. Projility provides planning, deployment, and support services around the Microsoft PPM platform, designed to help you drive more improved use and adoption. Additionally, you can visit our website, which has a series of blogs, as well as our YouTube channel that includes tons of great videos and topics related to project and PPM. Reach out via email, info@projility.com, if you'd like to talk about your specific needs. Next slide. Thanks to everyone that joined our session today. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you online for our virtual project conference. Have a great day.